Good morning, John Gilkison, Aero Stealth here. It is Saturday, August 31st, 2024. And I wanted to shoot a follow-up video on the road load diagram I had for our Ioniq 5. What happened was Phil Knox, who's the creator of all this material, sent me like 8 by 11s or whatever, and I used that to shoot the first video. And we had originally talked about the fact that I wanted 11 by 17s, which would show up better on a video. And that took a while, and he sent them to me a few weeks back. But then, I got involved with other projects, and I set them aside for a while. But I knew I wanted to go ahead and shoot a follow-up video on it. Before I get going any further on this, though, I want to talk about, some of you may have noticed there's a spot on my temple here, which really looked bad in some of my last videos. And I wanted, by way of explanation, in case anybody was concerned about it, then I went to a dermatologist. They determined it was, they took a biopsy of it, and they determined it was precancerous, which I guess is a euphemism for cancerous. And they gave me this cream, this topical cream, which I had to put on 5 days a week, and then not put it on for 2 days of the week. Just a small amount of it, but it kept the thing red and inflamed the whole time. I had to do that for a month. I just got done last week. So as you can see, it's already healing up pretty good. So I don't have to see the dermatologist for another week. Another year. That's my follow-up visit, 1 year. And so it's something that I was dealing with, and we took care of it. It's not anything I didn't know about. So anyway, off topic, but back to the video. The Ioniq 5, we bought this car in March. And the whole idea is I can flip this like so. There's our Ioniq 5 right there. It's a great car. We love it. We took it to Montana and back. It's a rear-wheel drive car. Has a 77.4 kilowatt hour battery pack in it. 303 miles of range. Great road car. We did 80 miles per hour all day long in Wyoming. That was a speed limit. There was just nothing out there. And we really didn't have any problems going all the way to Montana and coming back through Yellowstone National Park and coming back through western Wyoming and western Colorado. Obviously we were concerned about it, but we didn't really have any problems. We didn't really run low on juice. Didn't have any white knuckle moments making it to a charger or anything. So that's the picture of it. And now this is going to get a little screwy, and I'm just going to leave the camera alone and do all this. Because I don't have a way to flip them. So you're just going to be looking at space here for a while. So this is the ideal shape. This dotted line here would bring the air back together. The Ioniq 5 has a drag coefficient of 0.288, and it would have a drag coefficient around 0.12 if you did this and you enclosed the wheels. So this is what this exercise is all about, is how aerodynamics could take that 303 miles of range and crank it up to 450 miles. This is the same photo. You see there's two images here. One's upside down. And the reason for that is that it shows that the vehicle in reality is only half the teardrop shape. Which I'm going to show you right here. That's what it would look like if it was off the ground and in the air. That would make a perfect, an ideal, not perfect, aerodynamic shape. So just imagine the vehicle is, you cut right through the middle here, and that's your vehicle on the ground. This one we're going to have to rotate. This is so tall. He's got it up to 120 miles per hour, and he ran out of graph even there. At 69 kilowatts of motive traction power. But you have everything here. Here's 50. And you can see 70. 70 miles per hour is 18 kilowatts. And 50 is like 8. So 70 miles per hour is twice the amount of drag on the vehicle. This blue line down here is rolling resistance, and as you can see, it's linear, but aerodynamic drag is a cubic function, so you're displacing a cubic amount of air, and the faster you go. So anyway, at 80, what we were doing out there, it's like about 25 kilowatts, which you have to multiply times 1.34 to get horsepower. But so you can see if I had a 77, well, the car has a 77 kilowatt hour battery pack. So if I'm running 80 and I'm running 25 kilowatts, I've only got about 2.5 hours before I'm going to start running out of juice. So this is a road, what's called a road load diagram. Now this is just aerodynamic resistance and rolling resistance. Ancillary loads inside the car, the efficiency of charging, all that is not included in this calculation. So moving right along. What Phil did here was he also worked on the Ioniq 6 while he was at it. And the reason for that was that So you can see the Ioniq 5 at the top, and there's the Ioniq 6 at the back. And you can see the dotted line here. And you can see this car body is already filled more of that half of a teardrop. So the remaining amount for a boat tail to fill is much smaller on the Ioniq 6. And the Ioniq 6 does have a lower drag coefficient, and that number escapes me right now. So I'd have to look it up. And the Ioniq 6 does have more range, and it's more efficient as an electric car. Even with the same motor and the same battery pack, it goes further, and so forth. And this is the explanation right here. And one of the reasons we got the Ioniq 5 was what I considered to be ergonomics. I did test drive an Ioniq 6, but there's some things about the interior I didn't like. And well, one of the things is I didn't like the bridge in the back. In the front, excuse me, there's a bridge that runs from between the front seats. And I didn't want that. If they'd left that out of there and designed it like the Ioniq 5, I'd have bought it, probably. So there you have it. Explanation of why the Ioniq 6 is more efficient with the same drivetrain and the same battery pack. Now, that said, if you get four-wheel drive, you're going to lose some range. You're going to have more ancillary losses with the extra motor and extra mass. Trade-off, of course, is you get more traction and more horsepower. Now there's a large diagram of the Ioniq 6. Then Phil got into okay, well that's a double diagram, excuse me, that's not what I was thinking. This is that double diagram of the wake area you'd have to fill behind the vehicle to make an Ioniq 6 more aerodynamic. The action's all behind the vehicle, as you can see. This is the one I was thinking of. This is GM's aerodynamic experiments in the 1990s. As you can see, the wake area is significantly reduced. My complaint about this car is it needs more cab forward, and this pointed nose and this sloping line here. It's all unnecessary. A blunter shape would be just fine. So they've lost opportunity to have more. And back then, in the 1990s, they was thinking, well, you had a motor up here. Well, we don't have that now. So electric drive eliminates this need for all this stuff in front of the cab. You still need crumple zones and stuff, but you don't need as much room as you need to stick an engine and a cooling system and all that. So that's what the same car would look like if everything was brought to a point. not the same car. Silhouettes and mislead you sometimes. This is the Cambridge project, which got down to 0.12. And this is what I was talking about earlier about the GM project. See how this is all rounded, and then how this slope is not as severe. All that's unnecessary. And this shortens the total length of the vehicle and gives you more cab area. Last one. They're all four vehicles together. There you are. The Ioniq 5 is the top. The Ioniq 6 is the second one down. Third one down, right there, is the GM project from the 1990s. And here's your Cambridge project. So, now the thing about this is, and I showed this in the other video, is there's right here you could detach this boat tail, and you wouldn't need to carry that around with you for in-city driving, where aerodynamics is not as critical. But this car would easily be able to do over, this bottom car here, the Cambridge project, would be easily able to do over 100 miles per hour. I think it's up to about 110 or 20 miles per hour and still get over 100 miles per gallon equivalent. So, offhand, I don't know what the Ioniq 5 gets at 100 miles per hour, but at 80 miles, at 75 miles per hour, the Ioniq 5 is good for around 90 miles per gallon. So you can imagine here doing over 100 miles per hour and still getting over 100 miles per gallon. Those are insane numbers. Okay. That's all I've got for you today. I want to pay homage to all of Phil's work on this. Phil Knox lives in Denton, Texas. He's been an amateur aerodynamicist for since I met him in the early 1980s. So I've known him over about 45 years now. Not quite. I think it's somewhere around 42 years I've known him. And like a lot of people, when I met him, I was going, well, yeah, but this, when you buy a car, this is the way it comes. That was my attitude. And but nowadays, one of the things that's happening is electrification. It's critically important because of the battery density, the power density of lithium-ion batteries is significantly less than gasoline. So you have to, and the electric drivetrain, fortunately, is 3.5, 4 times more energy efficient. But you still need to consider aerodynamics and design to wring out all the efficiency you can. Our car is only carrying a little over like 2.1 gallons of energy equivalency in it for 303 miles of range. So it's incredible. But one of the secrets is the same battery size and the same motor and the same car, but with improved aerodynamics, it's literally like having a larger battery. You can go further on the highway. And as I said, in the city, at speeds below 40 miles per hour, aerodynamic drag is not as significant. And typically, electric cars get their highest mpg readings in the city. So this is why I'm doing all these videos on this, because the information's out there. The car makers know this stuff, but they're wrapped up in the tyranny of the Paris dressmaker. Got to get you a new style every few years, and that's where we've been since the late 1920s when GM introduced all this. Change the style every few years. Nonsense. You don't see it in aircraft design or other things. And can you imagine that in submarines? Well, we have to have the latest design. Where's the roof racks? It's but with ground transport, that's the thing. And it's just utter nonsense. How much more performance and, 50-70% more range and more efficiency with improved aerodynamics. Maybe they ought to look into it. Just maybe. We'll see you on down the road, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.